Hi, I'm Heather. Welcome to class. Today we're going to practice transitioning from Chaturanga Dandasana, which is the four-limbed rod pose, to Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, the upward facing dog pose. We'll be using support. We'll use a bolster and a couple of bricks. Before we begin, if you find this video helpful, be sure to like and subscribe. Put your bolster across the width of the mat and leave your bricks aside for now. When we come onto the bolster, we want to have the root of the thigh, so the very top part of the thigh, and the very lower pelvic area on the bolster. So you can set yourself on your forearms for a moment and feel into the positioning of the bolster. Set your feet hip width apart and curl your toes under so you're on the toe prints rather than the toenails. So toe prints or toe pads, you could call them, and just get a sense of the leg action. So we're on the forearms here. Press the shin bones up so you're affirming the straightening of the legs. You feel the strength of the quadriceps, but then notice what you're doing in the lumbar and abdominal area. Are you letting that collapse down? Draw your tailbone towards the heels and zip the navel up from the pubis, navel lifts, but can you move the navel back or up towards the back abdominal wall? So then we're wanting to feel that we're strong in that mid-body, we're contained rather than relaxed and dropping. Now bring your chest down onto the floor and we'll place the hands underneath the elbows. Get the heels of the hands back. You'll probably feel quite light in the feet at the moment when you bring your chest down, but that we'll be able to press the feet back down once we lift the chest off the floor. So hands back, elbows are in, shoulder tips are pressing away from the floor, and you can look forward. Then when you press into the hands, lengthen the tailbone again towards the heels. See if you can get your toe prints pressing into the floor firmly, and draw the navel up. Now, as we keep pressing into the hands, lift your chest up. So we're coming into Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Press the shoulder tips back, and as you press into the toe prints, feel as if you're trying to slide the bolster forward more towards your hands. Press the hips forward more, and then slowly come back down. Now we come back down onto the chest. You can let the feet come off the floor and prop yourself up. We're just going to get a sense of shoulders, shoulder tips. So we use our bricks. We get the shoulder tips to come onto these bricks. So the bricks are a guide and the hands come back. You can curl your toes under again. Set your elbows so they're vertically top the wrist. And the shoulder tips are being pressed away from the floor. Draw your tailbone towards your heels. Lengthen the upper sternum forward as you look forward. So this is just giving you an indication. It depends on how bulky your bolster is as to whether the tall bricks perhaps are too tall and they're causing you to lift up too high. You may need to turn your bricks down a little bit lower. But again, let's press into the hands, lift your chest up. And as you press into the toe prints, feel as if you're trying to slide the bolster forward towards your hands. Now, we'll come off the bolster for a moment. Let's have a rest. Move your bricks aside. If they were helpful, you can keep them there. I'm going to move them out of the picture so that I can work without the bricks. We're going to come back with the upper thigh and pelvic area on the bolster. We'll start with the chest on the floor, position the hands. We're going to lift and lower from Chaturanga to Urdhva Mukha, Chaturanga, Urdhva Mukha, and so on. So let's get set. Upper thighs on your bolster. Bring your chest down. Take the hands back. Elbows are in, shoulder tips resist away from the floor. So make sure you feel you can squeeze the elbows in, engage the shoulder blades. Inhale, upward facing dog pose. Exhale, Chaturanga, resist the chest away from the floor. Inhale up. Exhale down, shoulder tips resist away from the floor. Navel up towards the back abdominal wall. Inhale up, exhale down. Let's come down, have a rest. So you can bring your arms forward if that suits you, relax the toes. Find out what suits you. Just have a rest there. We're going to change the hand positioning in a moment. So when you're ready, again, bring your chest down onto the floor. Turn your hands out. So bring the hands back. Elbows are in. Shoulder tips are resisting away from the floor, and tuck your toes. Then push into the hands and see if you can come into Chaturanga. Draw your tailbone to your heels. Navel lifts up. Then as you lift your chest, come into Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Press the shoulder tips back. And again, as if you're pushing so much into the toes that you could slide your bolster forward. Move the pelvis forward. Then come back down without touching the floor with your chest. Shoulder tips resist away from the floor. Inhale up. Exhale down. Navel to the back abdominal wall. Inhale up. Exhale down. One more. Inhale up. And exhale down. And again, you can relax. Bring your arms forward if that works for you, or rest your chest on the floor. Relax the shoulders. Now we try another hand position. So again, you can bring your chest onto the floor while you set your hands up. This time turn your hands in. Fingers turn in, which means the elbows will be out. But watch your shoulders. The tendency will be for the shoulders to roll forward and down. Can you roll the shoulder tips up and back, toes are tucked under, press into Chaturanga Dandasana, and lengthen your tailbone. So shin bones press up, tailbone lengthens to the heels, navel lifts to the back abdominal wall, then press into your upward facing dog pose. And again, push into the pads of the toes as if you want the bolster to slide further forward towards your arms. Come back down. Chaturanga. Resist the shoulder tips away from the floor. Keep the knees straight. Inhale to upward facing dog. Exhale back down. Inhale up. And exhale back down. And again, let's pause for a moment. Have a rest. Relax the legs. Relax the arms. We've got one more arm variation or hand variation. This time, can you turn the fingers back? So we'll bring the chest down onto the floor, turn the hands back, keep the shoulder tips resisting away from the floor, tuck your toes. And as soon as you press into Chaturanga, try and get those toe pads to the floor. Lengthen your tailbone to your heels. Navel lifts to the back abdominal wall. Then inhale to upward facing dog pose. Again, press into the pads of the toes to move the pelvis forward towards the forearms. Tailbone in, navel up, chest up. Then back down, Chaturanga. Restrain the lower front ribs, navel lifts up. Inhale up, exhale, down. Inhale up, exhale down. Let's do one more. Inhale up and exhale down, and then you can relax. Let's come back, all the way back into Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Use your bolster and support your head. Keep the arms forward. Lower back long and broad. Then you can make your way up. Now, if you're not used to doing that work, you may be feeling very tired. The arms might be feeling very tired. We're going to do one more variation. Without the bolster, we're going to use a brick underneath our thighs. Take your brick, that's blade shape, so it's sitting up this high. That again is going to be under the root of the thigh area, both thighs. I know it's quite narrow relative to the width of our pelvis, but it will be wide enough that our thighs can sit on it for a moment while we're in Chaturanga. But then when we transition to Urdhva Mukha, upward facing dog, we're going to roll forward on the feet enough that the brick comes into a flat position under the thighs. So it's still supporting the thighs in our upward facing dog, but it's flat, and we can get that idea of moving the pelvis forward as we roll forward. So let's come onto the chest as we position our thighs onto the brick. You can bring your chest down, set your hands for Chaturanga Dandasana. Roll the shoulders back. Now at the moment I've got my elbows further back than the line of the wrists. I find that's helpful when I try and roll over the brick. So press to Chaturanga and then roll over the brick. So the front of the feet are on the floor, you've rolled over the toes, lift your chest up. Let's try that again. So come back onto your knees, bring your blade-shaped brick into place, come back onto your brick. You can rest the chest down while you set your hands. Now you'll note my elbows are further back than the line of the wrists, just as I initially lift up. Shoulder tips resist away from the floor, tailbone in as you lift into Chaturanga. Then press through the toes, roll over the feet, come onto the front of the feet. The bricks then under your lower thighs. Push away from the floor, lift your chest up, shoulder blades down the back. And then you can come back onto the knees and we'll have a rest in Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, downward facing hero pose. And when you're ready, you can come to sit up. Many of my YouTube videos are little snippets of things that we practice in the longer classes, the full-length classes that I have in my video library on my website, heatherkitchenyoga.com.au. Go there and check it out. You're welcome to join with a 7-day free trial. That's it for today. Thanks for joining me. For more in-depth teaching, check out the video library on my website, heatherkitchenyoga.com.au. The link is in the description box below.